Do you ever feel frustrated because you can't solve all the problems you see around you? Whether they're at home or abroad, like all the things you brought up this morning. What are we supposed to do about a policeman being murdered in Indy? It's easy to feel helpless when you read about famines in other countries or natural disasters. Y'all remember the tsunami a couple years ago killed 200,000 people over in Thailand, that area? We worry about those things and we pray about them, but you know they're not things we can really do much about. I'm not there. Half a world away is just too far for me to be of help. But you know, I think it's even worse when we see unsolvable problems here at home. And I don't mean just things like pipelines being blown up. Can you do anything about that? Anybody here know how to fix a pipeline? No, I can't do that either. I'm no good there. But it's easy to see the things that are going on here and still not be able to do anything about it. Think about it. You get home from a hard week's work and you're ready to sit down and have an easy weekend, and you come in the house and you see it on the kitchen counter before you ever sit down. There's a honey-do list. Volume 1. You know, there's lots of things that need to be done. I can't really complain about that, though. Samantha is really good about things like that. She does not overwhelm me with stuff. But last week, I made a list for myself. You know how you got all these things bouncing around your head of the things that need to be done? Well, I decided to write them down. Yeah, the one I wrote mostly in my sleep. Got up and there was 3 pages written down in front of me. And just to read the first few lines will make you wilt. You know that we plan on selling our house and trying to get into a bigger one. Well, it's going to take a lot of work to get it ready to sell. So I listed all the things that need to be done to the house. And just the house was a full page of single-spaced items. And we're not talking little things. Now, they might look small on paper, but then there's reality. It's stuff like where it says, replace kitchen countertop. Or worse, paint the house inside and out. Inside and out. 3 words. It just, represent weeks of work. And in yet another brilliant move, I did it as I was getting ready to go to bed. So I lay there all night and did not sleep. It's overwhelming. What does overwhelming mean? I looked it up. You know I'm big on words. It gives the picture of giant ocean waves pounding on the shore. Okay? And they call them breakers for a reason. It's because they break the things that they hit. Life can be overwhelming. And for overwhelming, Webster says these synonyms: consuming, intense, overpowering, and my favorite, so strong as to be irresistible. That's overwhelming. So not only did I make myself this overwhelming, impossible list of things to accomplish, I lay there and worried about it all night and lost a night of sleep. You see, when a job is too big, we get paralyzed. There's so many things to do, you don't know where to start. So you look at the Great Commission. It says, go ye into all the world, making disciples and baptizing them in my name. That there, folks, is overwhelming. I don't know how to fix a pipeline. I don't know how to catch a terrorist. And you look at this commission to go into all the world, well, there's just too many people going to hell in too many places, in too many languages, too far away, too many barriers, too much money to get it done. And the result is we freeze in place and don't do anything. The job is just too big. I can't do it all, so I'm not going to do anything. So where do you even start? The easiest thing to do is to put it off till tomorrow or next week. We watched an Andy Griffith episode last week, and there was a hobo in there telling Opie that, the best time to start a job is tomorrow. It's always tomorrow. You never really get there. It's always tomorrow. It's always next week. I'll get around to it. I will do good then. But in reality, we don't really do it. It's kind of like the national debt. Have you seen that national debt clock? It's, Lord, I don't know how many digits in it now. It's like $18 trillion, whatever a trillion is. And the bottom digits are moving so fast that they're just a blur. It's overwhelming. And so what do our politicians do? They just like kicking a can down the road. They kick it down and let somebody else deal with it. It's going to bankrupt and destroy the whole nation, but we're not going to deal with it. That's how we get about this Great Commission. Just kick it down the road. Let someone else worry about that, because I can't do it. How can I go into all the world this week when I got to work full time, and I got to try to find another job, and I got to pay the bills, and I got to make the doctor's appointments, got to buy groceries, you got to mow and weed eat, because that daggum grass never gives up. You got to change the light bulbs, you got to make the meals, wash the laundry, replace the broken toilet seat. I got around to that one. You see, the bathroom is a place where you should be able to relax, and there's nothing quite like trying to balance on the seat and keep it from sliding off to one side or the other. And socks. Anybody else have a problem with socks? They're an endangered species at our house. I bet I have bought 200 pair in the last couple of years, and most of the time you still can't find a pair of socks to put on. Where are they? It's got to be part of the curse. Adam and Eve were barefooted. There were no socks. And then amidst all this despair and overwhelmingness, some kid has the audacity to come ask you how to solve an algebra thingy. I hate algebra. I'll share that with you. Can I get a witness? Yes, I hate algebra. That was the worst 3 years of high school, Algebra 1. The weight of this life can be completely overwhelming. Remember those synonyms? Consuming, intense, overpowering, so strong as to be irresistible. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is how the devil wins. He just bowls us over from both directions with the enormity of the task, the grand scale of everything, and the fine details of even the simplest act. He works it from both ends. It's just too much, so we give up. You know that book the men's group was reading? The one we never got to finish because we got busy doing other things? That one? Well, it says to make a list for every day with no more than 5 items on that list each day. No more than 5. And then as the day goes and you accomplish these things, you can victoriously check them off and done and have that list to look at the end of the day. So I decided to divide my master list into doable items, no more than 5 per day. And a lot of good that did. Now I got like 2 years of 5-item lists in front of me. And a lot of it's stuff that needs to be accomplished next month. Again, it is overwhelming. Vehicles, for example. Who else has got vehicle blues? Yes, I know the Prangies do. We have 4 drivers at our house. 5 come Christmas. We got 5 vehicles. It looks like a used car lot outside my house. And every one of them needs something. You know, it may be a brake light that's out. It may be a transmission that needs replacing. There's all kinds of things to do there. And most of it's not the stuff that takes just an afternoon or a few dollars. It's the stuff that takes a whole week of afternoons and a paycheck to get it done. And guess what? We're at that time of year where daylight is getting shorter and shorter. Less daylight time each day. It's just too much. You want to just walk away from it. Go to Galatians 6. Galatians 6, starting at verse 10. The Lord speaks to us, Paul writing to the church at Galatia. As we have therefore opportunity, let us do good unto all men, especially unto them who are of the household of faith. Now, when you see the word opportunity, what comes to mind? Almost without exception, it's a chance at something good, right? You get an opportunity to go to the Bahamas, or an opportunity for a new job, an opportunity for a raise. Opportunity is never a bad thing. So God gives us opportunities, chances to do good things. And notice that it says to do these good things to the house, first to the household of faith, and then to the world. But I like the way it puts household there. Now, a household is your family and how you live, where you live. This is your household. And I don't think it's accidental that he put it there. Yes, it says household of faith, but there's another way to look at it. Everything in God's word has a divine purpose. It says, take care of your people first. Take care of your immediate family, your household. Then the household of faith. That would be you folks, the people around us, so people would love and worship together. And then it has another one of those dreaded words, to all men. All is an infinitive. Who does it leave out? Nobody. It includes everybody. So all at once, we're back to overwhelming. Do good to all men. But I figured out that it doesn't mean every last man, woman, and child from horizon to horizon, but the ones right in front of you that you can help. I can't help the man who was murdered in Indy. I can't help him rebuild the pipeline. I can't comfort the ones that got stabbed in Minnesota. But you know, I can help the one right in front of me. No, I can't put a new transmission in the truck this week. But I can roll on the floor and wrestle with my little sons, thus changing the future. I can't warm the freezing children in outer Mongolia, but I can make sure the little boy one street over that doesn't have a coat gets one before it gets cold. I can't feed all the hungry refugees trying to escape a civil war in Syria. I can't help one of them. But I can make sure that nobody that visits my house leaves hungry. There are things we can do, and they are important. Go to James 1:19. Book of James, chapter 1, at verse 19. King James says, "Wherefore, my beloved brethren, let every man be swift to hear, slow to speak, slow to wrath. For the wrath of man worketh not the righteousness of God. Wherefore lay apart all filthiness and superfluity of naughtiness, and receive with meekness the engrafted word, which is able to save you." Now, I didn't really need verse 21, but I couldn't resist saying superfluous naughtiness. It's hard to say, superfluity of naughtiness. You don't get to say that every day. What I really want is at verse 22. It says, "But be ye doers of the word, and not hearers only, deceiving yourselves." Now, who here has not lied at some time in their life? If you raise your hand, that'll be your first one. We've all lied to someone about something at some time or another, but it says here in James 1:22 that we're lying to ourselves. Now, of all the people you want to lie to, it would seem you want to tell the truth to yourself. Somehow it makes us feel good to know what we're supposed to do. Yes, I'm supposed to go into the world. I'm supposed to clothe the naked people. I'm supposed to feed the hungry, comfort the afflicted. But somehow we equate knowing what we're supposed to do with actually doing it. They're vastly different. We lie to ourselves. Yes, I'm to do all these things, but then I do nothing about it. The Great Commission tells us to go into all the world. It sounds good. It is good because Jesus said it. But it's still a little overwhelming, consuming, intense, overpowering, so strong as to be irresistible. It's worse than the list I made for myself. No, you can't solve every problem, but you can solve some of them. And just because you can't do everything doesn't mean you can't do something. You can't go into all the world and spread the gospel, but you can take it to that drunk that lives across the street or down the block. That's easy. You cross the road and knock on the door. You can't go into full-time missions. You got a family to support, but you can go down to Bertha's mission and help them. Do you know they fed 20,000 meals this year? That's 20,000 people who ate that were hungry. I think that's doing the Lord's work. You can go down to Becky's place right here in town. I don't have to go to outer Mongolia to be about my Father's business. You can't solve everything, but you can't let it stop you from obeying God's command to do what you can. You cannot let size and quantity or the scope of things that need doing overwhelm us and overpower us. When it says there that he continueth therein, what does that mean? Well, that's the King James way of saying, don't quit doing the good that you have the opportunity to do. Don't quit trying. You just keep plugging away at it. You do the little things because they do matter. Do you think it'll matter to that little boy around the block that he got a coat for winter? You bet it will. You bet it will. When you don't know what to do, Do the next right thing. It's going to be right there in front of you. John Wesley, he's credited as being the founder of the Methodist Church. It was actually Jesus that founded the church, period. But he's credited with Methodism. He had this quote, and I like it. He says, do all the good you can, by all the means you can, in all the ways you can, in all the places you can, at all the times you can, to all the people you can, as long as ever you can. Don't worry about the whole world way out there. You be about your Father's business right here, right now, in your yard, in your living room. Be ye doers of the word, and not hearers only.